Welcome to another session of Stelmo's Rants and Raves. I'm Stelmo. Let's jump into this. So, I'm reading an article today put out by Breitbart, and the headline reads, Around 10 new suspected Epstein victims identified in French investigation. So, ever since our government here in the United States released the Epstein files, it has caused investigators in other countries to step up somewhat. I would say that the greatest pushback from the files has happened in the UK, where you have the Prime Minister of the UK, Keir Starmer, and the whole story hasn't been released yet, but apparently he was involved with a number of Ukrainian young men, and apparently Ukraine was one of these locations that supplied young men and women to the perverts that apparently are in government all around the world. And how this works is, Keir Starmer was elected prime minister, and he appointed Lord Mandelson to be the United States ambassador. And here is another a righteous ringer, if ever there was one. And for a long time, he used to claim he was insulated from the Epstein scandal because he was gay. But then we find out, the gay guys, they weren't importing young girls, they were importing young boys. So what's reprehensible is, even though we keep hearing about all of these investigations, we never hear much at all about the perpetrators. In fact, quite the opposite. They hide the details of these people from us. I don't know what or who is involved in the Epstein files, but I know that they have made our president, President Donald Trump, do a complete 180 on the files. Yes, I know they're saying that they released all the files, but I think we all know that they haven't released all the files. And the files that they did release were heavily redacted. And, this is one of the problems I have. This ongoing investigations excuse that they often spew out. And, they can never comment on these issues because, it's an open investigation. We can't comment on it. It's like the perfect out for them. And, I don't know how it's going to play out, but I have this sneaky suspicion that nobody, other than the people who have already been sent to prison, will be prosecuted for the crimes that they committed. And this is sad. Now, in America, like I said, they're trying to tell us they released all the files. Well, from what I'm able to ascertain, there are still files in other federal agencies outside of the Justice Department. And one of these agencies is the CIA. So if our Congress is sincere, and it semi-seemed that way when they overwhelmingly approved the legislation to mandate the release of the Epstein files, that they were on board. Well, let's see them come back, because the CIA also has a large number of Jeffrey Epstein files. And none of these have been released yet. And I'm willing to bet the United States Treasury has some Jeffrey Epstein files as well, because of all of the vast sums of money that this gentleman was moving around. And they want us to believe that he was just a good investor. Yes, sir, he was so much better than all these other big-name investors out there. And that's the story they want us to believe. And, of course, I don't think most of the public is buying it, although I think an ever-growing number of people are content with the way that it has played out, and they're happy with this. And I don't understand that, but it is what it is. And look, the Trump administration has let me down personally in many ways this second term. And certainly at the top of the list is the Epstein files. I want to make a point here. I didn't see anybody out there twisting President Trump's arm when he was doing campaign rallies, when he was the one who volunteered that on day one he was going to have his administration release the Epstein files. And so I wonder to myself, just who is in these files who has so much power over the president and his administration? And I would really be interested in hearing anybody's ideas out there, because I hope I'm wrong here, but I have been recently really getting educated in the impact that AIPAC has on American politics. And I'm not so sure that they should be having such an impact. Now, we had heard early on, before the release of what they did release, that, the Mossad was involved. And certainly, AIPAC is providing enough campaign dollars to American politicians that they can control this narrative. So there are a number of, how shall I say, collateral ties between Epstein and the Mossad and Israeli intelligence. And, I don't know. Or is the problem the Israeli government in getting these files released? I don't know. I hope not. But there's something and someone in those files that changed everyone from day one. It changed Kash Patel. It changed Dan Bongino. And of course, both of them are getting upset that people are questioning their integrity. Well, I hate to say it, but there is tangible evidence out there that people can view. And, they conclude that you're being less than honest. And the fact that you get mad, I don't know that that's going to somehow prevent people from believing that you've now become corrupted in whatever person or network or whatever is responsible. And, children are involved. And when you find that young children are involved, it takes it to a level with the general public that you generally don't see. And I think it's safe to say that people are still outraged that no real perpetrator has gone to prison over all of this abuse that we know that happened. And, I hate to say, I just hate to make these connections, but, we know the Biden administration lost somewhere around 1/3 young juveniles from, they were illegal immigrants. And whoever did down in South America that caused families to send their young children alone on a trek to a foreign country, speaking a language that they did not speak, were not proficient in. I mean, none of that makes any sense. And you have to wonder, why was this happening? And why have so many of these young people just apparently disappeared off the face of the earth? And of course, nobody in the press has gone down to South America looking for some of the parents of these children who are now wondering where their children have disappeared to. Maybe they're alive, maybe they're not alive, who knows? All I know is there's a lot of shady things that occurred in what they did release in the Epstein files, which you can only imagine how much worse it is when you add all the things that have been redacted. And I don't know, I just have a problem with this. One of the things that I keep thinking about is there's that picture out there of Prince Andrew. And Prince Andrew has, I think, 5 or 6 women. He's laying down on a couch and they're basically sitting on him. Now, it looks to me, and I know looks can sometimes be deceiving, but it looks to me like these women are adults. And if they are adults, one has to wonder, why were their faces blacked out? And why were their names not provided? I know they're trying to claim, these are victims. These are Epstein victims. Well, if you're an adult and nobody's holding a gun to your head, I don't actually consider you a victim myself. I think these were willing participants. So why might they black out their faces? Well, maybe they were afraid of what kind of tales these women could tell if the press were able to track them down and talk to them. Maybe these women would be able to start naming some names of the adult men who were involved in these heinous crimes. But I don't buy that adult women are somehow victims. And if all of those, by some odd chance, are actually juveniles dressed to have the appearance of adult women, that makes it all the more heinous, but I think we're being gaslit. I think that they have for whatever reason, there is somebody or some organization or whatever that is just so powerful that they can take a person like Donald Trump, a presidential candidate who on every campaign stop that I listened to him at, and I'm going to say I listened to probably about a third of his campaign speeches. There it was, and each and every time on day one, he's going to release the Epstein files. But yet once he was made aware as to what actually was in the Epstein files, he's changed his tune. We hear them out there, oh, this is an old thing. I don't know why people are still talking about this. This is yesterday's news. And Mr. President, this is not going away. And the part that I really, and this I'm going to, I'll close with this point. And Donald Trump was the victim of a multi-tier justice system. He didn't like it. And a huge swath of the population didn't like what they saw as a political persecution of Donald Trump. So why he would so readily now, at least tacitly admit that there is a multi-level to prosecutions from the Justice Department, and his administration is going to continue that charade. This is something I just can't reconcile right in my mind. Does anybody out there have any idea in their minds who they think is that powerful that they can have a sitting president change the way he looked at things? I don't know about this. This is just, I'd be willing to hear whatever anyone would like to add in this, or their ideas for consideration. And who knows, maybe over time we'll be able to put more of this picture together. But for right now, it doesn't appear that way. And all I can say is we're just going to have to keep the pressure on the politicians to get this information out there released. And certainly there's more information in the CIA, and I strongly suggest there's more information at Treasury as well, because I think both of these agencies picked up some of the nefarious actions and of the Epstein and his entourage. So with that, I'm going to wish you all a good day. Stay safe. It's a crazy world out there. It gets crazier by the day. And all I can say is we got to make the best of it in this crazy world. Bye-bye.